Okay, so I did chapter 9, and it's seeking answers for students. So a student wanted to figure out how to transfer credits, and it was kind of wishy-washy, so she decided to go undercover. And so Lauren talked to other friends, and there were some inconsistencies. Some credits transferred for some students, and for other students they didn't transfer. So she wanted to get to the bottom of it. So she did some Google searches, and then she started interviewing college counselors, and they weren't really forefront on giving information when she went to them and said, "Hey, I'm a reporter, blah blah blah." So she ended up calling the registrar's office and changed her voice, changed her name, and she asked questions. And the lady said, "Oh, I have my cheat sheet with me, like what's up, like let me know." And she the secretary said they would most likely transfer, but that was she didn't know for sure. So Lauren ended up writing an essay and turned it into her class, and then it made it on the newspaper. And some people backed it up. Some people said that it ruined the reputation of the school. So there was mixed emotions about it. And all in all, several things happened. Central State, one of the colleges, now today has a course table on their website, and they never confirmed or denied if Lauren's findings were real or not. So that was one of the things, but at least they started doing something for the students. Okay, so for question number 1, it says, did Lauren exhaust all her reporting options before resorting to deception? I think she kind of jumped the gun a little. I think there's ways to go about it that she could have figured out before, being an imposter and changing her voice and name type thing. It says, for example, might have worked to recruit current or former students to ask the registrar's office. Yeah, I think you could have asked students that have gone through it or are going through it to ask, hey, is there is there a course list that shows all the credits or whatever. I feel like there was an easier way to go about it, and I think she jumped the gun on the deception for sure. Okay, so question number 2 says, the secretary seemed a little hesitant to talk to her when she was a reporter, but when she posed as a college student, she was a little more open to talking to her. So if you were the reporter in this case, would the secretary's change in approach have seemed important to you? I think it's important because it just shows that she knew that a reporter would write a story and write what she said, so she didn't want to go on record. But when she's talking to a college student, they're a little more leeway, and they feel like they can say things and be more free because they're higher than the college student. So whatever the secretary says is what the college student is going to take into account because they trust them. So, and then, would you have worried about the impact on the secretary after the story with her name and it came out? No, I mean, the secretary, I don't know, the secretary knew what she was getting in. I mean, she willingly gave out that information, so regardless if the story was run or not, she said that information, so she kind of put herself in that position. So number 3 asks if Lauren should have consulted her teacher or editor before lying about her identity. I feel like if she would have done that, the teacher or the editor would have been like, no, you're not doing that. But then again, maybe they would have said yes. So I don't know, I just feel like it depends on if you know your boss well or not, and if you think they'll say yes, I would have given him or her the heads up. But if you knew they were going to say no, but like in the moment they would have been like, well, if you have a story, like we'll run it type thing. So, and then it says the teacher and editors are all part of the same university whose policies her story would be exposing. Should that fact be in consideration of your decision? I think truth will prevail in any circumstance, so I don't think it matters. I mean, I feel like it kind of puts the teacher in a weird position with his or her coworkers, but I feel like the truth is better than, lying. So for number 4, it asks, if the secretary walked off and left the cheat sheet on our desk, would you have taken it or taken a photo of it? I would like to think I wouldn't. When I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, no, I wouldn't do that. But in the moment, if I was in that position in the moment, I don't know if I would have that gut reaction, no. I hate to say that, but I feel like that's just life. Like when you see someone's phone and they're texting someone, you're like, oh, like I'll look, and then, so I feel like, but in the moment you're like, oh, it's fine, no big deal. But then like if someone said, oh, well, you would say no, like gut reaction. So I would like to think no, but I would probably do it, which is really unethical, but how I would relate this back and reflect on like my life. I've had issues with guidance counselors in the past for college, saying one thing and then in the end it not being true or whatever. So I feel like it's good to know that like other colleges and people have had issues with college counselors, regardless of if it's transferring or GPA requirements or whatever for the program. So it's nice to know. I think it's also a lesson for everyone that, like I said before, I'm gonna trust my guidance counselors or the secretary that works there because they know the business, like their backhand and or whatever the saying is. But I have found that sometimes they mislead you or make a mistake, and everyone's not perfect. I mean, we're all human, but I feel like it is disheartening when I am a college student and I take their word or account for it, and it like kind of puts me in a bad position. I don't graduate on time or what have you. So it sucks, it's life, but I really liked reading this story and knowing that I was not alone in some aspects of it. So